all of you. Welcome to Viti Pathshala. So in this class, we would be going to complete the 8th chapter and let's start with the small and scale industry. So last class में हमने यहाँ तक पढ़ लिया था. Now we would be doing the small scale industry in this class. Now small scale industry, they play an important role for the development of the Indian economy in many ways. Now remember that this chapter is more useful for your mains answer writing for the your eco part, that is the GS3, rather than the prelims. Now about 60 to the 70% of the total innovations in the India come from the SSI, that is the small scale industries. Many of the big business today were all started small and then nurtured into the big businesses. The role of the small scale industries in the economic development of the country is briefly explained in the upcoming paragraph. Now, what are the roles of the small scale industries in the economic development? Now, first is that they provide the employment. Now, there is the SSIs use the labor intensive technology. So small scale industries, they are heavily dependent on labors and they are called as the labor intensive industries. Now hence they provide the employment opportunity to a large number of the people. So these are the less mechanized. Now to a large number of the people, thus they reduce the unemployment problem to a greater extent. Now when the mechanization it start, then the problem of the unemployment it also starts. Now SSIs, they provide the employment to the artisans, technically qualified persons and the professionals, people engaged in the traditional arts, people in the villages and the unorganized sector. So remember when we did the Gandhian economics, so it focuses on the people who live in the villages, so they should get the benefit, and these industries are based in the villages. The employment capital ratio is high for the SSIs. Now they bring the balanced regional development. The small scale industries, they promote the decentralized development of the industries, as most of the SSIs are set up in the backward and the rural areas. They remove the regional disparities by industrializing the rural and backward areas and bring the balanced regional development. They help to reduce the problems of the congestion, slums, sanitation and pollution in cities. They are most found outside the city limits. Now they help in improving the standard of the living of the people who reside in the suburban and the rural areas. The entrepreneurial talent is tapped in the different regions and the income is distributed instead of being concentrated on the in the hands of the few individual, or we can say that the family business families. Now next comes is they help in the mobilization of the local resource. Small scale industries, they help in the mobilizing and utilizing the local resources such as the small savings, the entrepreneurial talent etc of the entrepreneurs, which might otherwise remain the ideal and unutilized. They pave way for the promoting the traditional family skills and handicraft. Now there is a great demand for the handicraft goods in the developed countries. Now all the handicraft or the other product, particularly if we talk about the JNK, those product have the high demand all over the world. Now the GI tag also is related to that and preserving these industries and these products, so that's why the GI tag was given. Now they help to improve the growth of the local entrepreneurs and self-employed professionals in the small towns and the villages in India. Next is that they pay for the optimization of the capital. Small scale industries, they require less capital per unit of the output. They provide quick return on the investment, क्योंकि छोटी इन्वेस्टमेंट होती है तो उस पर जो है पैसा आने में टाइम नहीं लगता है. आप बड़ा कर रहे हो तो उसमें रिस्क ज़्यादा होता है. ड्यू टू दिस शॉर्टर gestation period, the payback period is quite short in the small scale industries. Now, small scale industry, they function as stabilizing force by providing high output capital ratio as well as high employment capital ratio. So output capital ratio वो स्टेबलाइज हो रही है. दूसरा एम्प्लॉयमेंट कैपिटल रेशियो वो भी जो है आपकी ठीक ठाक है. Then they encourage the people living in the rural areas and small towns to mobilize their saving and channelize them into the industrial activities. Next comes, they promote the exports. Small scale industries do not require sophisticated, so इनको जो है नहीं चाहिए क्या sophisticated, they do not require machinery, hence import the machines from the abroad is not necessary. सो बाहर से मशीन मंगाना ज़रूरी नहीं है. यू कैन स्टार्ट एक स्मॉल जो अपना बिजनेस स्टार्ट कर सकते हो कहीं से भी. ऑन द अदर हैंड देर इज़ ग्रेट डिमांड फॉर द गुड्स प्रोड्यूस्ड बाय द एसएसआईज. नाउ इफ यू फोकस देन द नितिन गडकरी ही सेड दैट इन द पार्लियामेंट that they would be integrating these small scale or the MSME. So ये जो MSMEs and these MSMEs, they would be promoting through the online platform, and like the Amazon, they would be government would be making their own platform. Now thus they reduce the pressure on the country's balance of the payments. However, with the recent past, large scale industries are able to borrow large funds with the low interest rate and spend large sums on the advertisement. Hence SSS are gradually vanishing. Now small scale industries earn valuable foreign exchange through the export from the India. Next comes is the complement large scale industries. Now small scale industries play a complementary role to large scale sector and support the large scale industries. Small scale industries, they provide parts, components, accessories to the large scale industries. और कई बार क्या होता है कि दे बाय द प्रोडक्ट एंड ओनली चेंज द नेम. द बिग कंपनीज दे बाय देयर प्रोडक्ट एंड ऑन देयर ओन टैग, बिग टैग, दे सेल these products and meet the requirement of the large scale industry through the setting up of the unit near the large scale units. The small scale industries, they serve as the ancillaries to large scale units. Next is that they meet the consumer demand. Small scale industries produce a wide range of the products required by the consumer in the India. Hence they serve as an inflationary, मतलब कि महंगाई कम करने के. Now inflation होता है महंगाई, force by providing the goods of the daily use. Now develop entrepreneurship. Now small scale industries, they help to develop a class of the entrepreneurs in the society. They help the job seekers to become the job givers. Now the same is said by our prime ministers that you should become the job giver rather than asking the jobs. They promote the self employment and spirit of the self reliance in the society. Small scale industries help to increase the per capita income of the India in various ways. They facilitate the development of the backward areas and weaker sections of the society. Small scale industries are adept in the distributing national income in more efficient and the equitable manner among the various participants of the society. Now next topic is about the micro, small and the medium enterprise. The focus of the Prime Minister is more on MSME. You will be hearing this in the Rajya Sabha Lok Sabha debates. As of now, the following monetary limits have been used for the defining different kinds of the industrial service units. However, these limits are subject to the change over time. Now first comes is the manufacturing enterprises. in which first comes is the micro manufacturing enterprises. इसमें जो इन्वेस्टमेंट है, द इन्वेस्टमेंट इन द प्लांट एंड द मशीनरी इट शुड नॉट एक्सीड द 25 lakh. Then small manufacturing enterprises, the investment in the plant and the machinery is more than the 25 lakh, but it should not exceed the 5 crore. So 25 लाख से लेके 5 करोड़ तक. Then next one is the medium, next जो है is the medium manufacturing enterprises. The investment in the plant and the machinery is more than the rupees 5 crore but not exceeding rupees 10 crores. Next is service enterprises. It comes the micro service enterprises. The investment in the equipment does not exceed rupees 10 lakh. स्मॉल सर्विस इंडस्ट्रीज की बात करें, सो दे आर द इन्वेस्टमेंट ऑन द इक्विपमेंट 10 लाख से लेके फ्रॉम 2 करोड़. एंड देन द मीडियम सर्विस एंटरप्राइजेज, द इन्वेस्टमेंट इन द इक्विपमेंट इज मोर देन 2 करोड़ टू द 5 करोड़. सो दिस इज द डेफिनेशन ऑफ द MSMEs. नाउ नेक्स्ट कम्स इज द प्राइवेट सेक्टर एंड द public sector and the private sector bank. Now first we will be talking about the public sector bank. Now public sector bank is a bank in which government holds a major portion of the shares. So if I talk to you about public sector, so simple I would say that the major portion of the shares are with the government. Say for example SBI is a public sector bank. Now the government holding in the bank is 58.60%. Similarly, the PNB is a public sector bank. The government holding is 58.87%. Usually, public sector banks, government holding are more than the 50%. Then the say of the government is more. The public sector banks are classified into two categories. They are nationalized banks and the state bank and its associates. Now, in case of the nationalized bank, the government control and regulate the functioning of the banking entity. Some examples are SBI, PNB, Bank of Baroda, OBC, Allahabad Bank. However, the government keeps reducing the stake of the PSU banks as and when they sell the shares. Now, so to the extent they can also become minority shareholders in these banks. Now, this is in accordance with the privatization policy. Now you would be hearing that the government has decided to sell their shares of the LIC. Liquidate करना है LIC को. Now next comes is the private sector banks. Now LIC is an insurance company. Now in these banks most of the equity is owned by the private bodies. So here word equity is used. Corporations, institutions and the individuals rather than the government. These banks are managed and controlled by the private promoters. On the total banking industry in India, public sector it constitutes 72.9% share, while the rest is covered by the private players. बाकी जो है वो private के पास है. In terms of the number of the banks, there are the 27 public sector bank and the rest are the 22 public sector banks. As per its differentiated banking regime, RBI, the apex banking body, has given license to the payment bank and the small finance bank. In the recent years, you see these are the new things which are coming up. Now, this is an attempt to boost the government financial inclusion drive. After the demonetization, it was felt that these can become a medium of the financial inclusion, and the more of the digitalization, it was focus was on that. Now, as a result, the Airtel Payment Bank, the Paytm Payment Bank Limited have come up. How far these bank would help the poor people, it is not known. So this book has been written in 2018, so these datas are of back 2 years. So you have to do the current affairs also, and I will say to you to do the recital monthly. And the Vajiram also post 10 current affairs daily on their portal and 10 questions also. So daily update your knowledge of the current affairs. So there are the some important things that appear. So for example, today the government has decided about the civil services Karam Yogi scheme. So if you update these things on the daily basis, it will help you later on with the in the exam. Mostly now the focus of the government is the exam of the UPSC is on the current event, the more. For example, if the prelims is about the 100 marks, you will find that the directly and the indirectly the 40% of the questions are related to your current aspect, or I can say that 50% it can go indirect or direct way. Then the other thing is that in the mains also you have the major portion or the major questions which are related to the current events that are going on. That's why reading the current, if you don't have the time to read the newspaper, do follow any one magazine. I will suggest you to follow the Recital, because it provide you the mains questions, then the prelims. For the prelims they provide questions, and at the last you have the two articles for the essay also, and at the last part of that you have the current affairs that is given. And before the prelims they release the quick revision booklet also, that is helpful for your prelims. So this is the thing, and their app provided 10 news daily with 10 MCQs. Now this nationalization of the bank, after the independence, the government of the India adopted the planned economic development. So through the planning commission. For this purpose, the first year plan came into the existence since the 1951. The main objective of the economic planning aimed at the social welfare. So objective क्या था? Social welfare करना है. Now before independence, commercial banks were in the private sector. Now these commercial banks failed in the helping the government to achieve the social objective of the planning. Now therefore the government decided to nationalize the 14 major commercial banks on 19 July 1969. At that time the government was of the Indira Gandhi. In 1980 again the government took over the another 6 commercial banks. So the problem was that the earlier the banks were not used to provide the loans to the rural people, but the government it wanted to have the social inclusion at the people at the lower level at the villages, and the other people they also come under the banking system. So it made, after that it made the this provision that the share some percent of the loan it would be given to the rural people, and therefore the you will find that the later on the RRBs were formed. Then NABARD came into the existence. And Jandan Khata, the recent the government it came, so direct benefit transfer of the subsidies and the other things. Now objective of the nationalization, the government of India nationalized the commercial bank to achieve the following objective. The first objective was the main objective nationalization was the social welfare that are prescribed in the DPSP, that is the part 4 of the constitution, that talks about the socio-economic development. And why they are not enforceable? Why they are not enforceable? Because we don't have the resources at the time of the constitution formation. So the constitutional framers they left to the upcoming governments or the state government or the national government, they can implement these provisions. So a law can be formed and then it can be became enforceable. Now sectors such as the agriculture, small and the village industries were in the need of the fund for their expansion and the further economic development. The nationalization of the bank helped to curb the private monopolies. Now, in order to ensure a smooth supply of the credit to socially desirable sections, in India, nearly the 70% of the population lived in the rural areas. Now, therefore, it was needed to encourage the banking habit among the rural population. Now, the recent thing that you have to study, the more important thing is that the NPA, non-performing asset. Now the thing is that the government, the previous government, they have given the loans to the people which were the favorable to them. Now for example, without any collateral they have given the loan to the Nirav Modi. सो उससे कोई भी जो है कोलेट्रल नहीं रखाया गया, और उसने जो है घूस दे के ही ब्राइब्ड द ऑफिशियल्स एंड ही टुक द लोन एंड देन ही डिड नॉट पे. द सिमिलर वे you will find there were the bogus companies which were formed by the person that is the damad of the Sonia Gandhi. So these companies were only on the paper. So the bank, they gave the money to them, and in return he gave that money to other person, and that goes in the circulation. Later on it became that the thing is that the money, it does not go to the people who require. So paisa kiska hai? The money is of ours, and it has been given to the rich people who bribe the officials of the bank and the government or the ministers. And then the NPA rose. So then the RBI comes. RBI comes, and RBI comes with the prompt corrective actions, PCAs. So the bank which is falling, now you can see that a painting which was made by the the secretary, the daughter of the Sonia Gandhi, she made a painting, and the Yes Bank personal, he buyed in a great amount. So that is the scenario. Now if we talk about the nationalization of the banks, in 1969 the 14 banks were banks with the deposits above the rupees 50 crores were nationalized. Now in 1980, 6 banks deposited the rupees 200 crores, they were nationalized. Now you should not remember the names, all these names, ये names आपके लिए important नहीं है. Why these names are not important for you? Because you are not appearing for the banking exam. Now these would be important for the IBPS exam. Now IBPS has been abolished. Now the new, that is the national examination body that would be conducting the your national exams or common exam for SSC IBPS, that for those exams it would be useful. So you don't have to remember, you should remember that 14 banks were nationalized. What was the objective of the nationalization? That is more relevant for the UPSC rather than learning the list. And you should able to differentiate which are the banks which are nationalized, and these are the common things that you know. Now other points, the nationalization bank was required to reduce the regional imbalances. Now where the banking facilities were not available. Now before independence the number of the banks were certainly inadequate. After nationalization, the new bank branches were opened in the rural area, both rural and the urban areas. Bank created the credit facilities mainly to the agriculture sector and the allied activities after the nationalization. Now after the new economic policy of the 1991, Indian banking industry has been facing the new horizons of the competitions effectively and productively. With all these developments, the people in the villages and the slums depend largely on the local money lenders for the credit need. Now the thing is that these people, they are not able to get the loan from the bank, but the person who are rich people, they bribe the bank official and they get the loan. And now if these people from the village and the slums, they do not get the loan, what they have to do, they go to the money lender. एंड आपने मूवीज़ देखी हुई हैं, उनमें दिखाया जाता है कि हाउ दीज मनी लेंडर दे एक्सप्लॉइट दीज पीपल. नाउ वंस यू हैव टेकन द मनी फ्रॉम द मनी लेंडर, यू विल बी पेइंग एंड योर सन वुड बी पेइंग, योर सन्स सन वुड बी पेइंग. So that is the unfortunate thing. So that's why to eliminate debt inequality, so the government came with the social inclusion. So I told you that the focus of the Jawaharlal Nehru and the Indira Gandhi, they were more inclined toward the socialism. So they were favoring the, and for that, for favoring these social principles, they had the fight with so many landlords. And the famous case, that the Golaknath case, the Keshavanand Bharti case, all these were the landlords. Now next comes is the performance of the India 5-year plans. Now this topic is an important topic, and this is also given in your the La Excellence booklet. So you have to study the planning also, and where the planning is given in your NCRT की political science की book में, in the pol science book of the, that is the first book of the 12th class. Economic planning is a process in which the limited natural resources are used skillfully so as to achieve the desired goals. The concept of the economic planning in the India or the 5-year plan is derived from the Russia. कहाँ से हमने लिया है? USSR, erstwhile USSR. Now India has launched the 12 5-year plan so far. The 12th 5-year plan will be the last one. The government of the India has decided to stop the launching of the 5-year plans, and it was replaced by the Niti Aayog. Now the first 5-year plan, so 1951 to the 1956, remember that it was based on the Harold Domer model. Now its main focus was on the agricultural development of the country. Now the plan was successful and achieved the GDP growth rate. So ये successful था, जितना हमने target किया था उससे ज़्यादा हमने achieve किया. So we achieved more than that. Now you should not go into the technicalities of these plans because they are outdated thing. UPSC can ask you, but we should not concern those people who are preparing for the SSC and the banking exam. They are more concerned about the technicalities of these plans. So what were the schemes, how many, what was happening in this plan, and so on and so on. You should know that the GDP growth, what we targeted, we achieved more than, and it was focusing on the agriculture. Now the second plan, if we talk about the second 5-year plan, that is the 1956 to 1961. Now it was based on the PC Mahalanobis model. Now its main focus was on the industrial development of the country. Now in the first, we thought that the agriculture, it has been segregated, and the with the partition, our major land, it went to the Pakistan, and now we have to focus on the agriculture so that the India should have the sufficient food to eat. Now in the second, we realized that now it is the time we should move to the industrial development of the country. So this second plan, it focused on the industrialization. The plan was successful and achieved the growth rate of the 4.1. Now the third 5-year plan, this plan was called as the Gadgil Yojana. Now what happens in this plan? Now you will find that this, it strikes within 1965. Now this, here we lost the GDP, our target, we will not be able to achieve the target because in this time we will be facing two wars. In the 1960, there was Indo-China war. Now the, as the Jawaharlal Nehru was ardent follower of the socialism, so he believed in the good relations with the China. So for that he gave the slogan also, Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai. And there was an agreement that was also signed, the Punch Seal, we called it as the Punch Seal, that 5 principles between the India and the China. But regardless of that, so the Nehru died in the 64. Remember that Nehru की death होती है 64 में, और in the 1962 the China attacked on the India. And you will be hearing that the China, last year also China, we have the Doklam issue. Now this time also the China is trying to expand its territory. Now the focus is that the territory between India, it is coming in their Pakistan corridor, and it want that somehow it can take that land so that it can make a direct highway into it. So the country is an expansionist and we should stop that, and that time also it was there. Now the we lost that war, it was unfortunate, but this time the difference is the India is different from the 1962's India, and you will find that it is also shown in the movies which are based on the 1962. And the other thing, we will find that in the other prime minister, that is Lal Bahadur Shastri, he will become the prime minister. And in 1965, the Pakistan attacked on the India. Though we won the war, but there was the scene that India was not having the food grain, and that's why we failed in this. So the main target of this plan was to make the economy independent and reach the self-propelled position, or take off. Now, due to the India-China war, this plan could not achieve its target growth, that is the 5.6%. Now due to these two wars, we have to have a plan holiday, and we also have to implement the green revolution in the India, because there was huge demand of the food grain. Now, after the death in this year, you will find that the death after the Indo-Pak war, the death of the Lal Bahadur Shastri, and now Indira Gandhi will take the charge. The main reason behind the plan holiday was the Indo-Pak war and the failure of the third plan. Now, during this plan, annual plans were made. So ये नहीं है कि बिल्कुल ही प्लान नहीं बनाया, हमने सालाना प्लान बनाया. And the equal priority was given to the agriculture, its allied sectors, and the industrial sector. Next comes is the fourth 5-year plan. Plan holiday के बाद we started again the planning in the 1969 to the 74. So while calculating the plans, do calculate the 3 years of the plan holiday also. Now there are the two main objectives of this plan, that is the growth and the stability and progress achieved by the self reliance. So अब यहाँ पर जो है आत्मनिर्भर की बात स्टार्ट हो जाएगी. Now the two things which are stick to the India, और वो जो है ख़त्म नहीं हो रही हैं आज़ादी के बाद से ही, कि हमें आत्मनिर्भर बनना है, और दूसरा जो है वो पॉवर्टी एलिमिनेट करनी है. और इन दोनों पे ही हर साल इलेक्शन हो रहा है, और ये इलेक्शन के मुद्दे हैं, और ये कभी पॉवर्टी तो कभी ख़त्म होगी ही नहीं, ऐसा सीन है, क्योंकि ये चाहते नहीं है कि पॉवर्टी ख़त्म हो. Now they have huge money, India has huge money, they can eliminate the poverty, but the population is also a concern. Now this plan failed and they could achieve the growth rate of the 3.3% only, and against the target of the 7.5%. स्टार्टिंग में हम बड़े खुश हुए, 2 प्लान सक्सेसफुल हुए, फिर वो प्लान गिरते गए. Now fifth 5-year plan, the 1974 to the 79. Now this is the time of the emergency. So यहाँ पर याद रखो emergency का समय है, और many amendments were made in this time period only. इसी समय में आपको amendments देखने को मिलेंगे, and the major that is called as the mini constitution of the your 1976 42nd Amendment Act. Now the thing that we have discussed earlier also, that the Indira Gandhi wanted Indira Gandhi is prime minister, it was nulled by the Allahabad High Court, and therefore she put the emergency. Now in this plan, top priority was given to the agriculture. Now next came industry and the mines. Now remember that the election of the your Lok Sabha, that is the we call it the general election, and the other is your state election. Now for that a person can go to the High Court first. Now remember, for the election of the president, then vice president, you can approach Supreme Court directly, and the local panchayat election and the municipal election, they come under the preview of the state governments. Now in this plan, the top priority was given to the agriculture. Next came is the industry and the mines. Overall this plan was successful, which achieved the growth rate of the 4.8 as it is seen as the 4.4%. Now the draft of this plan was prepared and launched by the DP Dhar. Now this plan was terminated in 1976. Sorry, 1978, when the emergency was taken off. Now rolling plan. Next comes the rolling plan. Now the plan was started with an annual plan of the 1989 to the 79, and a continuation of the terminated 5-year plan. Now sixth 5-year plan, 1980 to 85, the basic objective of this plan was the poverty eradication and technological self-reliance. Now गरीबी हटाओ was the motto. Now इसी नारे पर जो है इंदिरा गांधी फिर विजयी होती हैं. Now it was based on the investment योजना. Now the growth rate was targeted as the 5.2%, but it achieved the 5.7. Now next comes is the 7th 5-year plan. अब जो है assassination हो चुका है Indira Gandhi ka. Now Rajiv Gandhi is in the power. Now objective of this plan included the establishment of the self-sufficient economy and opportunities for the productive employment. Now for the first time, due to the pressure from the private sector, and the private sector got the priority over the public sector. Now this time that we would be opening our economy for the world, and the reforms would be coming in the 1991 era, and you will call them as the LPG. Now its growth rate was the 5%, and but we achieved this 6%. Then annual plan, 8th 5-year plan could not take place due to the volatile political situation at the center. So two annual plans are formed in the 1991 and the 1991 to 92. Now you will find that the many governments will emerge in this time period. Now 8th 5-year plan, in this plan the top priority was given to the development of the human resources, that is the employment, education and the public health. During this plan, new economic policy of the India was introduced, and this plan was successful, got annual rate of the 6.8, जो target किया था that was the 5.6. Then comes the 9th 5-year plan. The main focus of the plan was the growth with the justice and the equity. The plan failed to achieve the growth target and the 7%, and the Indian economy grew only at the rate of the 5.6. Now ये जो 90 वाला 90 से लेके 2000 तक का है, ये कह सकते हैं हम, ये एक ऐसा टाइम है इसमें हमने सबसे ज़्यादा प्राइम मिनिस्टर देखे. We saw so many prime minister in this time. Now first the NDA government would be formed under the Atal Bihari Vajpayee, who will become the prime minister, and then we have the 1999 Kargil war in this time, in the time of the NDA government. Then the two governments will come, UPA 1 under the Manmohan Singh, then again UPA 2. These are the coalition government. Then now in the 2014 the NDA again came, so BJP here got the majority. Now in the 2019 election again the BJP NDA 2 came, that is the National Democratic Alliance, and 2019 BJP won with the more number of the seats than the previous 2014 one. Now 10th 5-year plan, 2000 to the 2007. Now the plan aimed to double the per capita income of the India in the next 10 years. It aimed to reduce the poverty ratio to the 15% by 2012. Now see that the Prime Minister is a great economist. Now he was not able to do much in his era. You will see at that time there was the Colgate, there was a 2G spectrum, there was Commonwealth, Lalit Modi. So many scam you will find. And why this scam happen? Because the government is not stable. The government is a coalition government, so coalition government is never preferred. Now if a party comes with the majority, that is good for a country, because the prime minister has the majority, and the prime minister is the person who can take the decision independently. Now this government, that is the NDA 1 and the NDA 2, they are having the majority. That's why the harsh measure like the striking down of the Article 370 and the CAA and other things, they were brought up. Now its growth rate is 8%. Now the government, if the COVID had not came, so the government would be implemented the UCC, Uniform Civil Code. So the next target will be the UCC. Now 11th 5-year plan, 2017 to the 2012. Now its main theme was the faster and the more inclusive growth. The growth rate and the target was 8.1, but they achieved the 7.9. The 12th 5-year plan, the main theme was the faster, more inclusive, sustainable growth. So growth rate target was the 8%. Now here it can be concluded that since the Indian independence, the 5-year plan of the India, they played a very prominent role in the economic development of the country. These plans had guided the government as to how it should utilize these scarce resources so that the maximum benefit can be gained. Now, it is worthy to mention here that the Indian government adopted the concept of the 5-year plan from the Russia. Now, the Planning Commission would be replaced by the new institute, that is the Niti Aayog. It was said that in the Planning Commission used to make the plan, but the implementing body was the NDC, National Development Council, whose head was the Prime Minister. So, the Planning Commission used to submit their plans to the NDC. Now, ultimate final permission was given by the NDC. Now, the stake of the states was less, so to have a cooperative federalism, so the Niti Aayog was brought up. The Planning Commission has been replaced by the Niti Aayog on the 1st January 2015. Niti, that is the, you should remember this definition, that is the National Institution for the Transforming India. Aayog, it will monitor, coordinate and ensure the implementation of the accepted sustainable development goals. Niti Aayog serves as the knowledge hub and they monitor the progress in the implementation of the policies and the program of the government of the India. It includes the matters of the national and the international importance on the economic front, the dissemination of the best practices from the within the country and from all other nations, the infusion of the new policy ideas and the specific issues based support. In order to understand the achievements of the Niti Aayog, researches need to be done and then and there. Now remember that the other legality provision, what is the composition and the other things we would be studying when we will be doing the political science booklet of the Tamil Nadu SCRT. So do wait for that, and that provision is important. This is important for your mains exam. Now next comes is the next topic is about the development indicators. Now these development indicators, they are very important. Now there is a difference between the growth and the development. Now one is the qualitative, other is the quantitative. Now we require both quality and the quantitative economic development. Now Human Development Index, the United Nations Development Program has been publishing the Human Development Report annually. So remember, United Nation Development UNDP हर साल publish करता है Human Development Report को 1990 से. So you have to remember that it is an annual report. HDI helped the government to the real uplifting of the standard of the living of the people. Now Human Development Index. Now who designed this index? Now Human Development Index, it was developed by the Pakistani economist. Now his name is the Mehbul ul Haq, and the Indian economics, that is the Amartya Sen. For that they got the Nobel Prize also in the 1990, and it was published by the United Nations Development Program. It is constructed based on the life expectancy index, education index and the GDP per capita. Now Human Development Index is based on the 3 indicators, and you should remember these 3 indicators. Now the first indicator is the longevity is measured by the life expectancy at the birth. Now दूसरा है education attainments. Third is the standard of the living of the people measured by the real GDP per capita. Now before calculating the HDI, the fixed minimum and the maximum values of the each indicator, they are chosen. The performance in each dimension is expressed as a value of the 0 to the 1 by applying the formula. The formula is the dimension index equal to the actual value minus the minimum value divided by the minimum value by the minus the maximum value minus the minimum value. Now remember, this formula is not at all important. You should remember the indicator. You should remember who publishes the Human Development Index and what was the contribution of the Pakistani and the Indian, that is the Amartya Sen, Mehbul ul Haq and the Amartya Sen. Now according to the Planning Commission report, Human Development Index report 2011, HDI has improved significantly between 1980 to 2011. Now that is the HDI went up from 0.302 in the 1981 and 0.472 score in the 2011. This you would be mentioning while answering the mains question. Now a direct question cannot be asked by the UPSC. आपसे directly नहीं पूछेगा importance of the Human Development Index, but it would be asking you indirect way, and indirect way you can be would be mentioning these datas. As per the latest Human Development Report 2016, we are not concerned with this report because the latest we would be doing that is in the current affairs. United Nations Development Program, India has been ranked. We are not concerned with that. Out of the 188 country, India lies in the minimum human development bracket. The other nations, we are not concerned with this. So this data is not required because it is outdated. Now top 3 countries of the HDI, we are not concerned with that because this data is outdated. Now Biswajit Guha has staged the calculation of the HDI, neglected many important aspects of the human development. He has created 4 indices: HDI as HDI1, HDI2, HDI3, HDI4. HDI1 is based on the UNDP methodology as given in the Human Development Report. He has enlarged the scope of the HDI by adding 3 more dimensions, that is the quality of life, poverty eradication and urbanization. Various countries including India are continuously making effort to improve the enlarge the scope of the available statistic information. Now this Human Development Index and the dimension, the long and the healthy life, knowledge and the decent standard of life. What are the indicators? Life expectancy at the birth, adult literacy rate, the gross enrollment, this is not gross, this is the gross enrollment ratio. Now GDP per capita income, then life expectancy index, education index and the GDP index. So this is important. Now next and the last topic for today's class or this chapter is that the physical quality life index, PQLI. Morris D. Morris developed the physical quality life index. The PQLI is the measure to calculate the quality of the life well-being of a country. For this he included 3 indicators that are the such as the life expectancy, infant mortality rate, literacy rate. A scale of the each indicator range from the 1 to the 100. So number 1 जो है represent करता है the worst performance by any country and the 100 is the highest performance. For example, in case of the life expectancy, the upper limit of the 100, this would be assigned to the 77 years, which was achieved by the Sweden in the 1973. The lower limit is 1, was assigned to the 28 years, which was achieved by the Guinea-Bissau in the 1960. The main difference between the two is the inclusion of the income in the Human Development Index and the exclusion of the income in the PQLI. HDI represents both physical and the financial attributes of the development. The PQLI has only the physical aspect. You should remember what is the difference between the HDI and the PQLI. At last, the conclusion. To conclude, the British were more focused on the money from the Indians than good governance. Some positive thing happened during the British rule. They eradicated the, you can use this conclusion for your answer writing either in your GS1 or GS3. Now they eliminated the, eradicated the like sati, introduced the railway services, English language and education, infrastructure and the basic principle of the capitalist economy. After independence, the government of India formulated many policies with the help of the 5-year plans to achieve the growth target in various sectors. Among the other thing, the major challenges that still continue are poor health standard, female foeticide, the declining child sex ratio, open defecation, social and the economic inequality, increasing slumming, urban congestion, and the declining quality of the basic environmental resources, namely the air, land, and the water. Now remember, this is very good conclusion that they have given. So you can directly write this in your mains exam. Now this was all. We have completed this chapter. So in the next class we would be doing the means the tomorrow we would be doing the last part of this, and that is the your development experiences in the India tomorrow.